UCLA.
With USC great and NFL stud, Frostee Rucker.
The Trojans back in front.
And LAFB founder Ryan Dyrud on the Believe Podcast Network and LAFBnetwork.com. This is your destination for Los Angeles football.
All right, Los Angeles, what's going on? Welcome in to the LA Football Podcast here on the Believe Podcast Network, always on LAFBnetwork.com. Frostee, my man, what'd you think of that new intro we got for the show?
Amazing. I was going to tell our fans, make sure you're not just paying attention with us vocally. Go on YouTube and check us out, LA Football Network. And we got a new intro. Ryan, you're doing a fantastic job of progressing our show, and it's for you guys. So that's awesome, man.
Love it. Yeah, no, appreciate it. I mean, I can't take all the credit. I think in anything in life, when you're not good enough at doing something, you find someone who is, and that shows that you've adapted. So I had some help making that, and they killed it. I think it's a fun look at what we're trying to do with the show. So it was all your idea, you pushing it on us, and here we are. We're progressing.
They did a fantastic job. Good job, team, huh? Yeah,
there you go. So, but welcome into the show. Thank you all for listening. Show is brought to you today by BetOnline.ag. Everyone knows we're full swing NFL season. We're just NFL now. Sports are all wrapped up with the Dodgers winning the World Series. No more baseball. Obviously, hockey and basketball are done. So now it's all NFL from here on out the rest of the year. But the place to go to place bets is betonline.ag. Plenty of prop bets, money lines, game spreads. We got Chargers at -3 this week. Rams are a favorite as well. So head to betonline.ag. If you haven't signed up yet, they got plenty of sign-up bonuses. So make sure to check that out. I might get in on it this weekend, Frost. I've been out of the game too long. I might need to throw. I throw just shekels, $20 here, $20 there.
Throw it in there, especially right now because you have a big game this week with the Broncos, and it'd be interesting to see what you actually go for.
Ooh, who would I actually bet on, the team that we cover or my fanhood team? Never bet on your fanhood team. I think that's the best advice I can give. It's just the worst thing to do. You just can't do it.
No, you can't.
You can't do it. Because you bet with your heart, not your head. Yeah, exactly. But you're at least betting on the Lakers was like a smart bet. Like they lost one game in every series. That you just happened to bet on the one game they lost.
Well, it was the type of bet I did bet. It wasn't just win-loss. It was like that, Rondo do this or something, and I was just losing. And I was like, and then they lost and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. So, but a good one to bet on, you posted something. Good one to bet on is Justin Herbert, Rookie of the Year. That's a fun prop bet to do.
That'd be a great one.
Yeah, which I think he's leading. So betonline.ag, make sure to head there. Got the preview show today. We're going to have a great guest, Zac Stevens, for the DNVR out in Denver, covers the Broncos. So he'll jump on with us to preview this Broncos-Chargers game. We'll do some Rams and Dolphins preview. So two good matchups. Tua Tagovailoa is having his first start for the Dolphins. So that'll be a fun matchup to watch. So we'll get into that after the interview. But yeah, another good weekend of football. It's the last Saturday this weekend without Pac-12, without USC and UCLA football. I'm excited about that, Frosty.
Very excited, because it's coming. We've been waiting. It's been anticipated. You were getting the news as it comes. We're getting it straight to you fans as soon as it gets hot off the press, because that's how me and Ryan roll, right? And, we talked to the guys at USC. We know they're excited. We talked to Corey Pauls. We had him on the show. He's jacked just to see how it plays out. Not necessarily if he thinks they're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me being biased. But they're coming, and our Pac-12 teams are coming, and they're both in our city.
Yeah, can't wait. I'm working to get DTR on the show. We're working on it. So if you're listening, DTR, we want you on.
It wasn't us. It was Corey.
Yeah, right? We're fans. We're rooting for you. So
yeah,
come on. We'll talk it out. Trying to get him on. So we'll see if we can make that happen. But I'm extremely excited finally. So next week we can do some previews for USC, Arizona State, UCLA, Colorado. So we can actually talk some Pac-12 football, which it's been a long time coming. So excited for that. But, let's get into these NFL games. Got to say, we partnered with this new company called Collide, Frosty, that is a chat app, I guess, if you will. They host.
I'll be on there tomorrow.
Yeah, they host watch parties. So for all you out there listening, you can jump in there with us. It's super easy. You go to, let me see here. It's Collide in the App Store or Google Play. That's COLLYDE. Or you can go to neverwatchsportsalone.com where you can download right away. You're going to look for the 2 rooms that say, it's obviously for our games, the Rams and Dolphins, Chargers and Broncos, and it'll say with Believe in LA Football with our show. We'll be in there. We're just going to talk during the game. So, we can't all go to bars. We can't go to games, but hey, we can still hang out. We can drink some delicious Golden Road beer. Send us pictures of you drinking the beer, and we'll just cheers in the chat room and talk football. So Frostee's going to be in there. You want to talk to Frostee, right?
Yeah, of course. And it's not like a DM because I don't answer those. This is a group chat. We'll go play by play if we want. Maybe do first quarter and figure it out and see. We'll just try out the app, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So don't slide into Frostee's DMs, but you can collide with him and get all the football knowledge and intuition you need. So COLLYDE in the App Store or Google Play, or neverwatchsportsalone.com. Look for the rooms with Believe in LA in the title. So with that said, let's jump into our Chargers Broncos talk with Zac Stevens. Enjoy. All right, Los Angeles, excited to welcome in our next guest on the Believe in LA Football podcast. The Chargers travel to Denver to face the Broncos, and so we are joined by one of the best beat writers out there, works for DNVR as a beat writer, Zac Stevens. My man, what's going on?
What's up, guys? I'm pumped to be joining you again.
Love it. Is that a Peyton Manning signed football behind you, or?
It is. Yes, absolutely. Repping the Broncos with that.
Whose bat is that?
That was a bat from when the Rockies hosted the All-Star game back, I believe, in '98. So a little commemorative bat there.
Showing your age a little bit, Zac.
Right? Yeah, I'm not as young as I look.
All Denver though, so that's good. So I always look forward to this game every year. Obviously, I'm not shy to say that I am a Bronco fan outside of my coverage of the Chargers. So this is always a fun one. I always have it circled. I think there'll be another player that will have this circled for the Broncos, and that's obviously Melvin Gordon, the former Charger. What's the sentiment like with him? I know he's had some fumble troubles. He's looked good in other games. He's Melvin Gordon. I mean, Charger fans know him well for doing the exact same thing. What's the sentiment around Melvin Gordon with the Broncos and this game specifically?
Man, guys, when he signed with the Broncos, some people loved the move, and most of Broncos country did not like it because there's a homegrown kid already on the team in Phillip Lindsay, and he's a guy that's taken the league by storm. Broncos fans love Phillip Lindsay, and the Broncos could have paid Phillip Lindsay this offseason, even though he only had two years in the league, but because he was an undrafted guy, he could have got a long-term deal with the Broncos. And instead of giving him some money and keeping the long-term kid who has back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons to start his career, the first undrafted rookie to ever do that, they go out and they bring a Charger into town. So a lot of people did not like the move initially. And then the past couple weeks have been very rough for Melvin Gordon. He gets a DUI during the Broncos' short bye week, which they were forced upon. And then he goes and he gets strep throat, which you can't blame him for that, but he wasn't able to play in the next game. And then in the next game that he played, where he was the featured back because Phillip Lindsay only played a half, he fumbled twice, including a bad flea flicker. And Broncos fans are not happy with Melvin Gordon right now. But hey, what's a better time to redeem yourself than against your former team in a huge divisional game, guys? I think the Broncos season is teetering on the brinks right here with the chance to go 3-4, keep your season alive, pick up some momentum. Or if you lose this game, you're 2-5, you're the worst team in the division. And so this is a huge opportunity for Melvin Gordon, especially the Broncos may not have Phillip Lindsay in this game. Now, it seems like it's going to be a decision that we'll know in the next 24 hours before game time, but he's in the concussion protocol, is making at least good enough progress where he can be deemed as questionable for the game right now. But, the concussion protocol out of the team's hands right now. So if Phillip Lindsay is not in the game, man, it's going to be huge for Melvin Gordon because Drew Lock needs all the help he can get in the running game.
He does. Yeah, I think Melvin Gordon getting the ball 20-plus times in a game like this is, for me, looking at the game, it looks like that's the best chances that it's going to be a competitive game. I'm not going to really sit here and down your Broncos too much because the Chargers are essentially, they do have the same record. I feel like the momentum is on the Chargers side with their rookie quarterback, the way he's been playing. Their team has picked it up. They've been in every single game, no blowouts. becoming a Charger fan in a sense. But if Melvin Gordon is the bell cow this week, playing in a heated rivalry with his old team that didn't want to pay him, I think that makes it all the more interesting for this week's matchup.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I know Melvin would love to have the opportunity because he knows that he's had a rough few weeks and needs to rebound. And now he's said since the beginning of the season, which I think is very interesting, that he typically takes 7 or 8 weeks to heat up. Well, as he pointed out this week, this is week 8. So this is the time where he heats up. And so there'd be no better time to get hot than right now, regardless of if Phillip Lindsay plays or not. Because what the Broncos showed last week was they will use Melvin Gordon. Even though Phillip Lindsay has proven to be the better back this year when he's on the field, they will use Melvin Gordon just as much. And the Broncos actually really, really need Melvin Gordon in those 3rd and short situations to get the first down because the Broncos have not been good there. They really need him in the red zone. Even when Phillip Lindsay's on the field, the Broncos have not been good at getting into the end zone. And that's why they signed Melvin Gordon. And that's why the Broncos fans that were able to accept the signing of him and paying him $8 million a year were okay with it, was because they said, look, this guy, Phillip Lindsay, can handle it between the 20s. You can still use Phillip Lindsay in the red zone, but Melvin Gordon throughout his career has proved that he can be a great finisher in 3rd and short and at the goal line. And so the Broncos will need that this week because, look, the Broncos kicked 6 field goals to beat the Patriots 2 weeks ago. Didn't get in the end zone once. That was not going to beat the Chiefs, and it didn't. That is also not going to beat Justin Herbert because Justin Herbert has been absolutely tremendous in his first 5 starts, as you guys very well know.
Yeah, Zach, and I don't know about you, but I feel like Justin Herbert's on his way to being Rookie of the Year. They do have a guy down in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, but I do feel like Justin has outplayed him.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's incredible that in his first 5 starts, he's either thrown for 300 yards or had 3 or more touchdowns in every single game. That is mind-blowing. He's on a pace right now of like better than Patrick Mahomes, his first 5 starts in his career, and that is mind-blowing. The Broncos are in a world of trouble if Justin Herbert continues to develop the way he is, and I haven't seen anything to make me say that he's not going to continue to develop like that. They're going to have to go up against Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert in their division. And guys, I don't know if you know, but John Elway really liked Justin Herbert throughout the draft process. He was so bummed when Justin Herbert went back for his senior season because of the Broncos had a top 10 pick going into that year. And I wouldn't have been surprised to see the Broncos trade up in the draft to make sure that they could get him. And John Elway talked about it this week. And man, you could just tell that he felt good about Justin Herbert because he was right in his evaluation. John Elway likes big quarterbacks that are athletic and have a big arm, and that's exactly what Justin Herbert is. And he's proven that he has the mind for it too. So, man, it's even a little more brutal for John Elway having to watch Justin Herbert do it in the division.
So, Zach, this is the best part about this is because Ryan, my friend here, is such a big Broncos fan. And you saying that when you're talking about Justin, the Broncos have to play Justin and they have to play Patrick Mahomes. Ryan's face. Because, we have this show, but he is Broncos through and through. So
I see the helmet back there.
Yeah, right.
It's all about it.
Oh, let me scan
Ryan, defend yourself.
That's even a John Elway portrait right up
Oh, man, that's beautiful. With the hair.
Yeah,
John Travolta.
That's right.
Yeah, seriously.
Elway or Travolta? Who is it? I don't know. It looks good.
That's too good.
But we'll let's stick with the quarterbacks because obviously, we're gushing out here in LA about Herbert. You said everything about him, Zach. It sounds like you know him almost as well as we do. The other guy that you guys have, Drew Lock. As a fan, I loved Drew Lock in college. I did like the pick. I had him highly evaluated last year and loved that he fell to Denver in the second round. Still has a winning record. Obviously struggled mightily last week, but he's only played 8 games in the NFL so far. Only 3 more games than Justin Herbert. So what's the sentiment around him? I know if you get on Broncos Twitter, a lot of people are already ready to move on in these 8 games, but I think the Broncos are still committed to him. They built this team around him this offseason. So what can you tell us about the sentiment about Drew Lock and how long of a window does he really have to prove he's the franchise guy out there?
This week really is when it started to shift. And you're absolutely right. A lot of people are jumping off the Drew Lock bandwagon right now. There's still a lot of people on, but it's the most divisive thing going on in Broncos country right now, right alongside Melvin Gordon as well. And right now, Drew Lock has the rest of the season to show he's the guy, but he doesn't have more than that. So he has 10 more games to prove he's the guy. That'll give him a sample size of just over a season. Whether that's fair or not, it doesn't really matter here because that's what he has. And Drew Lock, to be fair, guys, I'm very biased on him because I loved him coming out of college. I thought the Broncos should have traded up in the first round from 10 to get him. Because I thought he had every single tangible, intangible. And last year, he was very impressive. He went 4-1 as a starter, had a flash game, had a bad game against Kansas City, but you can excuse that for a rookie. So I was very encouraged with him coming into the season. But I have to say, guys, now this is the first week where I've said I'm worried about Drew Lock because he hasn't had the flash. He hasn't had that splash this year. And you can have good and bad games when you're still starting your first 16 games. I mean, you guys know that very well. You expect Justin Herbert to have a bad game coming up in the next couple of games, and you're not going to fall off his bandwagon because of everything else he's done. But I haven't seen Drew Lock have the Justin Herbert type of games this year. In fact, I've only seen one Justin Herbert type game from Drew Lock, and Justin Herbert's had pretty much 5 of them in his first 5 starts. Yeah. So that's why I'm starting to get worried with Drew. And the biggest thing with him, his numbers this year are terrible. 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. He's at the bottom of the league. Touchdown to interception ratio, passer rating, completion percentage. Pretty much every single stat is very concerning. But the one stat that really concerns me is he hasn't scored more than 20 points in his last 4 games that he's played from start to finish. That is inexcusable in the NFL. You can't do that. And what you can't also ignore is the 2 games where backups came in to play for him this year because he was injured. The Broncos offense scored more than 20 points in both of those games. In fact, Jeff Driscoll, the Broncos' third-string quarterback, put up 30-plus points. Again, now it was against the Jets, so you do have to throw that in there. But I'm concerned that there's just something not going on. And one of the things we found out this week from the coaching staff and Drew himself was that he's not reading through his progressions. He's getting to his first progression, sometimes not even a second progression, before taking off. So, and what it's been boiled down to from Drew and the coaches is that he's pressing. He's trying to do too much, and I get that. But Drew needs to stop pressing and show that he can get to his second read and then his third and fourth read as well, or else you can't be a successful quarterback in this league without doing that. So I need to see some steps. I don't need to see a Justin Herbert game this week for him, but I need to see him get through those progressions this week. Then maybe next week, top 25 points and just continue to progress because I still believe he has the tangibles and intangibles. But I am at a point where I'm a little worried now, and I think Broncos country is at least at that point, if not a little more on the worried spectrum.
Yeah, I think they're probably a little farther than that. but I'm with you. I think that you got to give him a little more time. There is concerning things, but he does, show sometimes those some throws where you're like, there it is. But he just doesn't put those throws together back to back to back throughout a full game, which, this is a good game for him to do that, going against a division opponent, bouncing back against a bad one. So it'll certainly be a fun matchup to watch. And, I'm kind of bummed that Chris Harris won't be playing for the Chargers because that'd be a fun matchup as well. 2 guys going at it. But one thing I want to ask you, Zach, and I don't even know how much you'll know about this, but both these teams, Chargers and Broncos, have been relatively clean this whole season with the whole COVID-19. Haven't had any cases. Both of them have, gone on a schedule. Obviously, the Broncos, in a way, got screwed because of New England's situation or whatnot, but they themselves have been good. Now, both teams just this week have both had their first case. I think it was Graham Glasgow with the Broncos, Ryan Groy with the Chargers. Is there any other news about that? Has any other players tested at all, or are they pretty much clean? Everything's good to go aside from Glasgow. Obviously, he will be out this week.
Yeah, so yesterday and this week with the Chargers, yesterday was pretty scary for the Broncos getting their first positive test from a player since the beginning of training camp when they only had 1 guy test positive. And right now, the good news is I think both the Chargers and the Broncos have received negative tests this morning, so the game is still on. Unless something pops up tomorrow, I don't expect anything to change with the game, which is really good. And the Broncos also got some more good news. Yesterday, they deemed there were 2 close contacts with Graham Glasgow, and that was their backup right guard. Graham Glasgow's their starting right guard, and their starting right tackle. So there was a chance that if those guys tested positive today, and there's still a chance if they test positive tomorrow, that they wouldn't have their backup right guard, their starting right guard, their starting right tackle, and then the Broncos' starting right tackle or backup right tackle is Elijah Wilkinson, who's on the injured reserve. So they would be down to their third string right guard and right tackle.
Joey Bosa's licking his chops.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, going up against any NFL team, that's an issue, but especially Joey Bosa, that would be a huge problem. So if it stays the way it is, where the Broncos are just missing Graham Glasgow, they can get away with Austin Schlottmann playing right guard. He's had some spot play here and there throughout the season and last year, and he's been solid in game spurts. So they can get away with that. But if one of those other guys comes up positive tomorrow, it's going to be an issue. And the concerning part about this was their offensive line coach, Mike Munchak, was put in the concussion protocol on Tuesday. So it shows that maybe there was more of a spread there, since it did lead to an offensive lineman. That's why I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm not going to say that the Broncos are safe until we get those results back for tomorrow's test.
Interesting and something to watch for, definitely. And we're watching out here too in LA, because obviously having the first one for the Chargers, and as of now they're clean as well in a similar situation. So we'll keep monitoring that. So Zach, about Vic Fangio, I was a big fan of his. Obviously, great defensive mind. I thought it was a good hire by Elway, just getting an established guy, a no-nonsense guy. I think Broncos country seems to have kind of a mixed review on him too, and it's kind of just a sense of, since Gary Kubiak, it's been a very short leash for all coaches in Denver, and he's been the same. So what's the sentiment on Vic, and also how do you think he game plans for Herbert and this game for a Chargers team who's put up 30-plus points in almost every game that he's started?
Yeah, well, Vic, from a defensive standpoint, has been what the Broncos hoped he would be. Now, the Broncos have a lot of injuries on defense, and the Broncos defense is still playing pretty darn well. But it's from the head coaching aspect where he has made some mistakes, and it didn't help that he started the season off with the timeout issues that he had at the end of the game against Tennessee. That's not a good way to start the season. So Broncos fans were a little on edge after that. And the offense hasn't been good, but that's not Vic's point, or that's not his expertise. But, at a point that does come back to the head coach. And how I think Vic attacks Justin Herbert is, I think he's got to bring pressure. And now Justin Herbert has over 100 passer rating when pressure is applied. But that's how the Broncos defense has been so good these past couple of weeks. And people may say, what are you talking about? The Broncos gave up 43 points against the Chiefs last week. Well, that included a pick six and a kickoff return. And it included a late touchdown by the Chiefs' backup quarterback. So the Broncos really held Patrick Mahomes to 20 points. And obviously that's as good as you can expect for a team to hold Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was 0 for 8 on third downs last week against the Broncos. So the Broncos defense actually did pretty solid. They held the Patriots to 12 points, maybe broke Cam Newton for a second time in his career. And they were good against the Jets as well the week before that. And the way that the Broncos defense has been so good these past couple of weeks is Vic Fangio has brought pressure. And that's how his defense has looked so good and really taken that next step from the first few weeks. So do what you're good at and then adapt. And Patrick Mahomes is another guy that's really, really good when you bring pressure. And it actually worked against him last week. That's why I have confidence that even though Justin Herbert is good against pressure, if you beat Patrick, or if you were good against Patrick Mahomes bringing pressure, then you can do that to Justin Herbert as well. Try to fluster him. The Broncos finally have a healthy secondary, so rely on those guys. And you know what? If Justin Herbert beats your secondary, which is the highest paid secondary in the league, good for him. And you know what? He probably will beat him once or twice. But that's why you're going to have to ask your offense to put up more than the 16 points per game that they've been averaging under Drew Lock these last 4 weeks. So that's what I would do. And I also think that's what Vic Fangio will do.
Yeah, I think Vic has a good thing going. I think, if anything, he's masking for the inability to get sacks. Obviously going into the season right when Vaughn got hurt, that completely set the franchise back because of just how dynamic, not just stat-wise, but what he does to free other players up too. Derek Wolfe isn't there anymore. That's a strong leader that's been there close to a decade. Pressures only last for so long, And hopefully, just because the way Justin plays, he escapes those. He's very fast. He's elusive, and he gets the ball down the field. Like you said, his passing rating when he's on the run, when you got guys chasing him, is exceptional, right? It's pretty damn good. Can I say that on our show?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
It's pretty damn good, like just the way he's playing. And I think Vic has done a good job dialing up these blitzes, but it kind of falls right into the will of Justin Herbert. I think that's where he's at his best. Is scrambling, things open up, he can get away, he maneuvers, and he's taking care of the ball. He's not throwing picks.
Yeah, and that's why, to me, this is Broncos-Chargers. It's Drew Lock versus Justin Herbert. But to me, guys, this game entirely boils down to Justin Herbert. The Broncos do not have the offense to keep up with him if he goes crazy. And he's proven that he is very capable of going crazy in every single game. And you've seen the games where the Chargers have lost. It's because, especially in the past 3 games, the 2 games that they lost, it's because, they're playing the Saints. Well, the Broncos don't have the Saints type of offense. They're playing teams with really good offenses, and the Broncos don't have that now. So if the Broncos cannot contain Justin Herbert, they will lose this game.
Yeah. And I think
– Go ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead, Ross.
You're good. Go ahead.
I was just say, I think one of the things that defenses have failed against Herbert is when they do bring that pressure, they also bring their safeties leaking up and don't leave him back to cover because he hits him for that 50-yard bomb to Jalen Guyton or these big bombs. So I would assume Vic, being a smart guy, will keep Justin Simmons or keep Kareem Jackson back when they bring pressure just to save that big play. But we'll see. That'll be what the game comes down to. And Zach, I hope that this is a matchup of what's to come of Locke and Herbert, and it's not going to be the end of Locke and just the continuation of Herbert. So hopefully this Locke-Herbert matchup is here to stay for a while, because I know as a fan I want that. We need our quarterback in Denver to be set, but then just as someone that covers the Chargers, I think it'll be fun to have all our quarterbacks. We haven't even mentioned Derek Carr, but having the quarterback room set in the AFC West for years to come I think will be good.
Yeah, wouldn't it be a blast? And when was the last time there was a real rivalry within the AFC West? It feels like it has not been there because the Broncos dominated the division for so long. And now, of course, the Chiefs are just dominating the division. Getting good quarterback play would really, really help that, especially 3 young guys. And then you have Derek Carr, who's also playing exceptionally well out there in Las Vegas. It would be a blast. And it seems like Drew Lock is the key to that, because the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, the Chargers have Justin Herbert.
Right.
The Broncos are still waiting to find out if it's Drew Lock.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, Zach.
Ryan?
What was that?
Do you think Drew Lock is the guy?
I do. But me, Frosty, I'm a glass half full guy. I'm always optimistic. I always look at the bright side. I think he needs more time. I think he's got it. I love his swag. I think his teammates love him. When he does well, obviously the city loves him. He's a fun dude, but he's got to show it. He's got to show it on the field. Still has a winning record. That's the one thing I'll hang my hat on.
Production-based business, Ryan, and his production has not been there when you're talking about 1 touchdown pass.
No. he's I'll say this, and this is going to be very harsh, but he's getting to that Mitchell Trubisky level, which is very scary.
Whoa,
yeah, that is very scary.
Run, Zach, run.
Yeah,
seriously.
He can fix it, but we're getting to that territory, which is not bode well for Broncos country. So, well, Zach, I'll get you out here on this. I'll put you on the spot. You think the Broncos bounce back, or the Chargers take it and the Broncos fall to last in the division?
You know what? I think the Broncos offense finds a little life in this game, but that little life is going from 16 points a game to 19 points a game. Until they top 20 points, I'm not going to say that they're capable of doing it. So Broncos 19, you're not going to hold Justin Herbert under 19 points. I do think the Broncos defense steps up to the plate and holds Justin Herbert in check. They've averaged 32 points per game the past 3 games under Herbert. I think the Broncos hold them to like 22 points. So the Broncos defense does the job, but it's still not enough. The Vegas line is 3, and I really like that line. So I'm going 22-19. The Chargers get the win. Broncos fall to 2-5. And man, the Chargers are just trending in the right direction.
What's the weather like?
Beautiful, beautiful. Last week, you guys saw the game out here. It was terrible. It was so cold, snowy. Tomorrow we've got mid-60s and sun.
Beautiful. Sounds like LA.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a home game. It's a home game.
We could have those palm trees that Frosty has.
There you go.
Right.
I was actually in Denver last week for the game, so I know it was terrible. It was very cold. It's funny, Zach, I'm just talking, then we'll get you out of here, but it's funny. Every time we have a guest on and we give score predictions, it's always like a 15 points, 19 points. It's always these scores. Everyone just wants to play with these random scores that never happen, but I love it. 22-19.
Yeah, I have no idea how it happens.
Yeah, a couple safeties in there, but all right. Zac Stevens, Broncos beat writer for DNVR. Love what you guys are doing. I've followed you guys since you started. You guys are a great company, do great work. Keep it up, man. Thanks for taking the time and talking to us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. Anytime.
Thanks, Zach.
Appreciate you.
With shoppers buying everything online these days, getting those holiday gifts for family and friends is going to be harder than ever. But no need to worry because our friends at the Seattle Shirt Company have got us covered. Jay and the team have an unbelievable selection of NFL and NBA jerseys for everyone on your list. These jerseys are 100% authentic, from current superstars like LeBron James to all-time legends like Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Walter Payton. Seattle Shirt Company has it all. And right now, for our listeners, we have a special one-time only pre-Black Friday Cyber Monday deal. Everything you buy at seattleshirt.com is 30% off. So head to seattleshirt.com and enter the code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, at checkout for 30% off your entire order. Shipping is always free. Seattle Shirt Company, helping you get ready for the holidays a little bit early. Once again, that's BLEAV at checkout, seattleshirtcompany.com.
All right, love Zac. Great guy. I've had him on the show before. Glad Frostee got to meet him, but it's a cool company. What they do out there, they're kind of doing something similar to us. They're just, they're not a mainstream media, but they've built this little brand, and they have access to all the Denver teams, and they're kind of building it's a brand lifestyle company, kind of like what we're doing. So it was fun to get his insight in what they think of the Broncos.
It was good to get Zach on, another Colorado guy, just like yourself, Broncos fans, advocates, all about it. I feel like you were way more biased towards the Broncos this week, right? But anyways, it was good. I did want to ask him a question, though, and you at the same time, and I didn't get a chance to do it. I want to ask, what would you prefer? I wouldn't call it vacation. I would call it, if you're in Colorado, to just go to Vail or Breckenridge, and the icebreaker there would be Steamboat Springs. If I can ask you now, on record, what would you say? What would be your favorite place to go visit, have a beer?
That's a great question.
Whatever you do, ski.
That's a great question. All are great. You can't go wrong with any of them. I'm going to be honest. I've been to Steamboat, but I've never actually snowboarded there. It's just from Denver. It's almost like a 4-hour drive. So you're not going there unless you're taking a whole weekend trip. It'd be like Mammoth to LA people. But between Vail and Breckenridge, I would say the locals. So that would have been me at the time is Breckenridge. It's more of a locals feel. The town is a lot more
normal,
middle class, I guess you can say. It's still a mountain town that's expensive, but their bars are more like local bars, whereas Vail is much more like high class, like really rich, bougie stuff going on there, like wine and cheese platters. Breckenridge, you go and you have Breckenridge breweries from Breckenridge. You have a beer, a nice bourbon, and hit the slopes. So both are great. Can't go wrong with either, but I would go Breckenridge.
Okay.
Have you been to either? Have you been to either?
Yeah, I've been to both.
Okay.
All three, really. I've been to Steamboat also when I was in school, before school started. A buddy of mine on the team at Colorado State, Derek Haverly, shout out to him, great guy. He was from his hometown, took us there, me and a couple of my roommates. And it wasn't snowy or anything like that. It was fall, but great time. Went to Breckenridge, great time.
Did you have a preference, or you liked all of them?
I want to know from you, like you said, you put them each in a different class of what they are. I wasn't really in the town of Steamboat. I was at my buddy's house and hung out locally with friends. But Breckenridge was normal. I fit in really good, the bars,
Exactly.
It was really good. I went up there. One of my best friends, Nick Sclafani, shout out to Nick. He's in Colorado. And Vail, I went out there. I had to go to the Stedman Clinic for I had an ankle injury. So
yeah. An
so,
eagle or whatever.
Yep, flew there. And, it was very, like you said,
bougie.
Uppity. And bougie.
Uppity.
Yeah.
Uppity is the right word. So
I bougie frost sometimes. I put the pinky up.
Yeah, every now and then have a nice. Yeah. If
type of beer I drink, bolt up.
That's right. Bolt up in whose house or C-.
Yeah, pinky ups, guys.
Yeah, pinkies up with the whose house or the bolt up. But yeah, good stuff from Zac. Should be a good game. Are you taking the Chargers in this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're rolling. I think this is the game they stack. They're getting confidence. This will be win number 2 for Justin when we come back and talk about it, because I just feel that good about it.
Yeah. No, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to be unbiased here, and I think the Chargers do take this one as well. I think the Broncos are going to play well because of how poorly they played the last week. They'll come out fired up. I think Locke's going to have a much better game.
I think Melvin will have a great game.
You what?
I think Melvin will be very competitive.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he goes for like 125 plus, maybe a touchdown or 2. I think Locke will have a good game, but I just think the Chargers are too much. I think they're trending in the right direction, and they'll pull out the win, 3 points or so. I think the spread's a good spread.
Well, to look at Melvin, I just feel like Melvin will have a good game. He'll be a factor. I'm not sure it's going to end up on the stat sheet, but I feel like he'll make a couple big plays, maybe a screen pass. Because he can do great things. It's not necessarily the stats that I'm looking for with him.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to have a really great team versus a team that should have paid him.
Yeah,
he put his time in. He was their first round pick. They should have paid him, and they didn't. And I'm all about the redemption.
Totally. Yeah. And it's unfortunate how that went down. And you look at looking at specifically the Chargers defense last week, James Robinson went off for the Jaguars. So Melvin Gordon is a similar style runner. Yeah.
Exactly. He wasn't starting on anyone's fantasy.
Yeah.
And he did work.
Yeah. He's starting now. That's for sure. So, all right. We both like the Chargers in this one. Should be a good game. So, all right. Let's transition quickly over to the Rams and Dolphins, brought to you, of course, by Golden Road, Whose House Blonde Ale. Go to LAFBnetwork.com, hit the LAFB locker room. You can buy it straight from there. Get yourself some Golden Road. Send us pictures of drinking the beer. We will post it on. We'll post it on the show on our video stream. We'll post your pictures. Why not? Unless you don't want it.
Really down to watch you guys pound beers.
Yeah, exactly. Drink with us in the Collide chat room this weekend. But all right, the Rams travel out to Miami. Wish they would have traveled to Miami last January for the Super Bowl, but this is their chance to get out there. The Hard Rock Stadium played Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa with his first career start. Frost, just off the bat, I think we both probably like the Rams in this one, but why do you like the Rams or the Dolphins for this game?
Well, I like the Rams in this game simply because they're stacking. I think this is the time where they really make their push for a first seed if this is what they want. Right.
Totally.
Obviously, the division is going to be very tough with the San Francisco team that's already beat them and a Cardinal team that they've yet faced, but it's very dangerous and very capable of beating them. They stacked this game because they need it, and it's going to help them in the long run. I think Tua, I'm happy he starts. I think Justin Herbert's a better rookie. I think Joe Burrow's a better rookie at this point. And Jalen Hurts isn't playing, but I feel like if he played first, he'd be better. And I don't know why. I feel that strongly about everyone else than Tua at this point. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he unnecessarily got a chance to start right now. I felt like Fitzmagic was absolutely balling, gave that team the best chance of, making it and making a run for something. Not saying what, but, he was in command of that offense. And I think it won't fare well.
Yeah.
Everything changes. You got a left-handed quarterback now, then a right-handed.
Oh, yeah.
So blind sides change. Plays have to change. Handoffs change. So it's a lot going into it, and I don't think it's going to fare well for the Dolphins.
Yeah, huge change. Do you think, obviously, I don't think you have any knowledge of the situation, but when that happens, because Fitzpatrick won his last 3 starts, played very well, is that ownership saying, hey, we want to see our rookie go? Because as a coach, it doesn't make any sense to make the change right there, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they did it. I don't think it
bizarre.
was probably the coach's call. It had to be coming from upstairs,
I would think.
But, you do get a chance to see how Austin Jackson plays a USC first-round pick.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to watch him play. I was very excited that he did get picked there with Tua, and that's a good tangent that could play for a number of years together if it's done the right way. And he's been playing great, and here's another chance for him to solidify that versus a great team coming off of Leonard Floyd, great game versus Chicago. Now he's going to be, lined up versus a potential superstar in the left tackle, Austin Jackson.
I love Austin Jackson, so loved him at USC, and he has been playing well, so that'll be a fun matchup to watch. But, I like the Rams in this one too, and for me, this is a just must win. I know the Dolphins before the Tua news were trending upward. They've played well for Brian Flores. They've got a loaded defense. They've spent a ton of money in free agency, bringing guys in on that secondary and on that defensive line. So it's a very good and well coached defense that could give the Rams offense some problems. But it's a must win to me for us, because their next 4 games after this one, they play the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, the 49ers, and the Cardinals. So that is a gauntlet of 4 games right there.
You got to stack this one, because this is one that if you lose this one, the momentum and everything is going to crash, because you're playing all the highly touted teams that are capable of beating you.
Yep, absolutely. And I think the defense will play fine. I think they'll give Tua fits. Like you said, it's just so much changing from even a right-handed to left-handed quarterback. So I think the Rams defense will play really well. I think they get pressure. They did well last game against the Bears, getting pressure. So for me, if we each want to just highlight like one scenario for a win here, I'll go first. I think it's really going to come down to this offense and the running game. Again, I feel like I say the same thing every week, but it's so true. In Sean McVay's offense, it is so important to get the running game going. And Darrell Henderson's been playing spectacular, better than I predicted all season. He has been kind of a bell cow back in a sense, which I didn't think he was meant to be, but he's been handling that situation very well. Malcolm Brown has done great in spelling him. And then I want to see if we see Cam Akers going back to Florida. I know, played at Florida State and Tallahassee. It's a little far from Miami, but still there's roots there in Florida. So I want to see if Cam Akers gets on the field, can live up to that pedigree when he was drafted in the second round, which we haven't seen yet 7 weeks into the season. And maybe this is the week where they can get him going more. So for me, highlighting, it's got to be the running game. Keeping the offense on the field, because that is a very good defense. The secondary specifically in Miami is very, very good. And I'm not saying Goff and the receivers can't handle it, but if you get the running game going, you rush the ball 35 times a game, it's going to spell success for the Rams, and they can stack this one and then move on to their gauntlet afterwards.
Sounds good. Both got the Rams.
Yeah, so Rams win. We'll look forward to talking about it afterwards. So we have another 2-0 weekend. Chargers, Rams, both of us think we're going 2-0 again.
Well, until our next time, we'll check in with you.
Thank you all for tuning in to the Believe in LA Football podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. We are everywhere you listen. Video platforms, YouTube. We're on Instagram and Facebook, all just LAFB Network. Frosty, where can everyone find you personally at?
You can find me at The Organic Frost. That's on Instagram and Twitter. Email me at frostypodcast@yahoo.com. And let's get talking. We should be doing another show for questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, another question show. So send those questions. You can find me at Ryan Dyer at LAFB. Email me podcast@lafbnetwork.com. And for the next few weeks, join us on Collide, and we can talk directly during the game. Not just us, other fans in there. Let's build this chat room up. Let's have some fun. Let's talk football. COLLYDE in the App Store. Just look for the chat rooms, or the watch parties, they call them, with Believe in LA in the title. It'll be the Chargers game and the Rams game. Easy to find. Send us pictures of drinking some Golden Road, Bolt Up, or Whose House. Thank you all so much. Enjoy this weekend's games. Frosty, pleasure as always. We'll talk soon, all right?
See you, bro.